An air hostess's or a flight steward's job is often associated with high-paying salaries, glamour, and being the only profession which offers the possibility of bumping into the who's who from the world of sports, cinema, corporate, and others every now and then. But do you have what it takes to become an air hostess or a flying steward?
Cabin crew is basically only about the hard work, and it's only the hard work that pays. Second, I would say is that they have to be a people's person. They have to actually be comfortable with all age groups, whether it's a child or a middle-aged person or an elderly gentleman, because at the end of it, and I think we Indians are the best cabin crew that can be generated, I would say, because as it is, we have been brought up in a society where it is atithya, atithi devo bhava.
An air hostess or a flying steward, often referred to as cabin crew, doesn't just welcome you on board with a picture-perfect smile, requests you to buckle up your seatbelts before the takeoff, and serves you food and beverages during the flight. He or she is also trained in first aid and other safety measures to act as the first line of safety during emergencies.
Slow decompression is in the aircraft door. Also, we have a rubber lining there. Now, if we don't do a pre-flight check before doing a flight, if we don't do a pre-flight check of the door, if there's a little torn in that rubber lining, okay, 35,000 to 40,000 feet, we started having slow decompression. Almost after me.
Cabin crew and the hospitality industry share a lot in common. As a result, the training institutes for cabin crew often club the training modules for both. Often it is done to offer trainees increased chances of employment.
Well, we are more into hospitality, and from hospitality we start with the students with different departments like front office, housekeeping, food and beverage service, and then coming to the aviation part, how hospitality is related to aviation, how the student need to pick up hospitality so as to make their good career in aviation. So the student need to go side by side with hospitality, where we inculcate the things that are relevant and very relevant to students to start with hospitality.
In a country like ours, the possibilities of expansion for the aviation industry are immense. However, just that might not sound like a convincing argument to most students. Let's hear from those who are training to become cabin crew about their reasons for choosing this as their careers.
Because I love traveling. Because it makes you fly high.
It's a high-paying career.
It's a glamorous industry.
And we get variety of knowledge.
Because I love to travel and I like to interact with other people.
Experts say India's aviation industry is set to surpass most, both in terms of size and the number of people employed.
Okay, more than 400 new airports are coming up in India shortly. 400 new airports means lakhs and lakhs of new job opportunities. Okay, if I just give you an example, okay, India today is at number 9 in the aviation market, and in the coming 6 years it will be at number 3 after beating US and China, and in the next 10 years Indian aviation market will be at number 1 across the world.
While the reasons for a lot of professionals to feel gravitated towards the industry are many, sitting back and assessing your skill sets and character traits carefully to find out whether you're cut out for the job or not is something one must do. Whenever someone around us mentions the word cabin crew, automatically the picture of an air hostess comes to our minds. This despite the fact that a substantial number of males comprise of the overall staff for different airlines of cabin crew. Now let's take a look at the story of Arjun, a 20-year-old from Delhi who's been working with an airline for over a year. Let's hear from him about his struggles and what he had to go through to become a cabin crew.
People are more used to with the term air hostesses than they are used to with the term flying steward.
A month before clearing the interview for a prominent airline, Arjun was in Canada, where he had taken admission to study BBM to become a banker later on. However, because of problems at home, he had to return. He enrolled for a BCom course at Delhi University's Open School of Learning. With spare time on his hands, he decided to take up a job as well.
The plan was to go to Canada and then start with my studies, start with my graduation. I took admission into university. Everything was totally settled, going perfectly all right over there. But then I came back after 2 months because of some reasons, right? And then I had to do something. I quite quickly took admission into Delhi University. Then I also wanted to do something else. I took admission in Frankfurt, right? Through that, I got the chance of appearing for an interview of Go Air.
Although Arjun cleared the airlines interview to land himself a job with one of country's biggest airlines in his first attempt, his family, especially his father, was against the idea of Arjun becoming a cabin crew.
ये बात मेरे मन में आई थी कि ये एयर होस्टेस हैं, ये कैबिन क्रू जो होती हैं, तो ये लड़कियों का काम है, लड़कों का नहीं। लेकिन मेरी मिसेस को इस बारे में थोड़ी ज़्यादा जानकारी थी। मेरी मिसेस ने बताया कि इसमें लड़के भी बहुत हैं।
While money and the freedom to travel were biggest reasons which led him to the aviation industry, meeting strangers, he says, is what he loves the most about his job. That's not surprising, given his love for conversation, one reason why his friends often tell him to become an RJ.
I had no, planning as to I would be a cabin crew in future, and then but I always had this in mind that I would be definitely try and be someone who would have to be in front of people, who would have to present, right, himself in front of people, who would have to say things, make people understand, because I've always cherished the idea of talking to people, seeing new faces, and actually seeing as to how people are. I would love to try my career as a RJ. Now the reason I'm saying that is not something which I have decided, but whenever I talk to people, whenever I talk to any person, first time, second time, he or she would definitely say this casually that, buddy, you should try your career in RJ in this industry, and because you've got a nice voice. No.
Just like Riya, Arjun says perceptions about what he does are very different from reality.
So what they see is the service part. Okay, a cabin crew has to just serve the meals. Cabin crew has to take care of their demands, their requests. Of course, we have to. That's our job. But we also have to take care of the safety of the aircraft. Anything can happen in the aircraft. God forbid, if a passenger is diabetic, if he gets into any cardiac arrest, then someone is not able to breathe properly. We have taken care of everything, and we do, and we will take care of everything. But then there's the other things which passengers don't know anything about, and I don't blame them.
A lot of you out there might share a lot in common with Arjun and Riya. But remember, a cabin crew's job doesn't just involve the good things. In fact, at times, just keeping a smile on your face after flying for hours on end can be the biggest challenge. Time for us to slip into a quick break, but on the other side of the break, top 5 attributes you should have to make it big in the industry and more.